More breaking news out of Tuscaloosa as we continue on in National Signing Day 2022. Maybe the biggest signee of this class in some opinions. Justice Haynes has now signed his letter of intent with the Crimson Tide. This recruitment was a fun one to follow as it really came down to Georgia and Alabama for Haynes. You see Florida there on his RPM machine as well. But Haynes, the legacy at Georgia, grew up, close to Athens as well. Talk about what Alabama did here to earn his commitment back in July and ultimately what got them to the finish line here this December.
I guess there was no belief that he was going to go to Alabama, according to the On3 Sports recruiting prediction machine. Of course, that was about just a few weeks before we made the move over to On3. So, we kind of had an idea about Haynes, maybe a week before he announced his commitment, which kind of shocked me in the beginning because, this was a kid who, grew up going to Georgia games. His father played for Georgia. He was a priority target for Georgia, and everybody just assumed he was going to Georgia. And then, about a week before he announced his commitment, we had heard that Alabama was, in a, pretty good position with him because there was another running back, and I won't mention the name, but there was another running back in the country that was about to commit to Alabama. And Alabama pretty much had to tell him they didn't have a spot for him anymore because Justice Haynes had committed, and they knew that Richard Young was, more than likely going to go to Alabama. So they, pretty much had their top two, running back guys on board. So, it was all about, was Justice going to be able to go through with it, turn down the home state school and announce his commitment to Alabama. And then, he did that about a week later. Obviously sent shockwaves throughout the recruiting landscape. And this is a guy that, had an unbelievable, senior season. I mean, he's had an unbelievable career. This is the number 4 rusher in the state of Georgia's history. Over 7,700 yards rushing in his career. He had over 1,600 yards rushing this season. What's probably most impressive about his senior season is he averaged more than 11 yards per carry as a senior. And this is at Buford High School, one of the top high school football programs in the country, and they play unbelievable competition week in and week out. I mean, this is a hard-nosed football player. I mean, he's 5'10", 200 pounds plus. I mean, he's strong. He can cut. He's got great strength, great speed. He's got everything you really look for in a running back. It kind of reminds me of a version of Mark Ingram coming out of high school. I mean, that's just how good he is, and I think he's got a chance to be a really special football player at Alabama. He's also enrolling early. You got to give a lot of credit to Alabama running backs coach Robert Gillespie and T-Rob, Travaris Robinson, for their recruitment of Justice Haynes, because they did a great job here. Going into the state of Georgia a year after Georgia wins the national championship, and now they're back in the college football playoff, being able to hold on to this guy the entire time, because even when he committed to Alabama, everyone assumed, he's committed now, he's going to end up flipping. We didn't necessarily think that, but we thought that was a chance. The Georgia side probably felt 100% that he was going to end up flipping back. But once we kind of got into these last few weeks, and I did an interview with him a couple weeks ago, and he just seemed really solid to me. He was still going to allow some coaches to come in and recruit him, but he seemed really locked in with his commitment. Then Nick Saban had the in-home visit last week. It was last Monday when the in-home visit happened with Coach Saban and Robert Gillespie. And after that, he decided that he was fully on board, that he was ready to shut things down, cancel the in-home visit with Georgia, cancel the in-home visit with Ohio State, let it be known that he was going to Alabama. So big win for Alabama back in the summer, but an even bigger win for Alabama in December, getting Justice Haynes officially on board and signed when many people felt like he was going to end up flipping back to Georgia. So, one of the biggest recruiting wins of this cycle, getting Justice Haynes on board with the Crimson Tide.
No question. And, some rumblings earlier last week that those in-home visits were going to be canceled, I think got Alabama fans extremely excited that this was going to become official here on signing day. As Justice Haynes now does sign that letter of intent. What is his role going to be here in year number one? Like you said, an early enrollee, already getting to practice with the Tide, but will he get a start play right away at Alabama?
He's going to have an opportunity. I mean, this is a great player, physically very developed. We don't know what the Alabama running back room is going to look like next season, quite yet. Will Jahmyr Gibbs end up returning? They've got some great players on the team right now, but they've also got, some guys who can come in and contribute. Justice Haynes, Richard Young, these two early enrollees, they're going to push this running back room. These running backs that are coming in going to make that running back room a lot better because there's a lot of talent. And I think they really, it's amazing when you hit on your top 2 running back targets on your recruiting board, especially with the offensive line class that they're bringing in. It's just a special overall unit. I think he's going to have a really good chance to see the field. What type of role will that be? We'll have to kind of wait and see because he's also a great kick returner. He returned 2 kickoffs this season for touchdowns, including one against Thompson High School in the first game of the season. So it's going to be very hard to keep Justice Haynes off the field. I think we're going to see him get some carries this fall.
Such a talented runner, a 5-star. As you see there, the number 2 player in Georgia, the number 2 running back in the top 35 in the country. Going to be an extremely exciting prospect to watch here as he gets to Alabama and hopefully, gets that chance this fall as well. Guys, for more on this and all things Alabama recruiting, be sure to check us out at BamaInsider.com. Don't forget, guys, subscribe to the channel as we continue to release videos on these signings throughout the day. Hit that like button for me, guys, and get in the comments. Let me know what you think about Justice Haynes. I'm assuming glowing reviews as they've been from the jump here. But until next time, guys, Justice Haynes has now signed his letter of intent with Alabama.